Hi, did a video tutorial a while ago talking about triads and basic chord construction, and it was always my intention to follow that one up with some other videos about constructing other types of chords. I've been a bit slow getting around to doing it, but going to do something today to rectify that and look at another type of chord, namely seventh chords. Now, if you're not familiar with the theory behind chord construction and the basics of it, go back and take a look at that video about triads, because a lot of the theory that we covered in that video is relevant to what we're going to look at for seventh chord construction. Okay, now when we looked at building triads, what we were doing was taking alternate notes from a scale, a first, a third degree and a fifth degree. Construction of seventh chords just basically extends that idea, and as well as having a first, third and a fifth, we also have some kind of seventh degree. Okay, let's take C major as an example. So in the key of C major, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A and B. 7 notes in the scale. And we built a triad which took the first degree C, third degree E and the fifth degree G. What we can do is keep going and take the seventh degree, which is B, have these 4 notes, put those together in a chord. We have C major 7th chord. C major 7th chord sounds like this. Compare that to a simple C major chord that on the triad it's just the C, E and the G. Compare that to the C major 7 chord. You should be able to hear that the major 7 chord's got a slightly more complex sound compared to the normal major chord. So we've got the basic sound of the major chord and sound of the C major 7 chord. Maybe sounds a little bit more jazzy perhaps, but certainly a different sound to the C major chord. Still fundamentally sounds the same though. You know, still got quite that like happy major sort of feel to it, but just kind of a slightly more complex version of it. What we can do is go through the C major scale, and on every degree we can build a 7th chord. Same way that we did with triads, we went through every degree of the C major scale and built a triad. We can do the same thing, take the notes from the major scale that's based on that degree, and we only want diatonic notes. We only want notes that belong to the parent major scale of C major. So if we come across any notes that are outside, we can flatten them or whatever to give us notes that are diatonic. Let's try that with D, which is the next note up in the C major scale. Now D major scale, we've got D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Now remember, when we built triad on there, we had to build a D minor triad rather than a D major triad because of that F sharp. F sharp doesn't belong to the key of C major. F natural does, so we lower the F sharp by a semitone down to F natural. So we get D, F and A. If we look at the 7th degree of D major, is C sharp. So again we need to lower that by a semitone from C sharp down to C natural. And that gives us D, F, A and C. Play those together, we get this chord. Now, as we said before, it's got a flat third in, so the triad that it's based around is a D minor triad because of that flat third. If we add in the flat 7th degree as well, that gives us this chord, which is a minor 7th. So on the C major scale, we had on the C degree, we had C major 7th chord of 1, 3, 5 and 7. On 2nd degree we have a minor 7th chord with 1, flat 3, 5 and flat 7. And compare the sound again of the minor 7th chord just to a basic minor chord. Minor 7 chord, minor chord. You can hear the difference again. Still got the minor tonality, it still sounds a bit more sad and a bit more somber than a major chord, but it's got a more complex sound by adding that flat 7th. So we've got the normal triad and a minor 7 triad. Okay, and we can keep going through the scale and do the same thing on each degree. When we get up to E, remember we had a minor triad with E, G and B. Third degree of E major is G sharp, so we have to lower that G sharp by a semitone to give us a G natural. So we know already that we're dealing with some kind of minor chord because of that flat third. And the 7th degree of E is D sharp. Lower that's D sharp by a semitone gives us D natural. D natural is diatonic to the key of C major, which is the key that we're playing in. So what we're going to have again is another minor 7th chord with a 1, a flat 3, a 5 and a flat 7. So we're going to have an E, a G, an A, so a B and a D. E, G, B and D sounds like this. So again it's got that minor 7 tonality like the D minor chord. Got the E minor chord, same sound, a bit higher up the neck. And again compare that to E, just an E minor triad, E minor 7. Okay. Continue through with an F, which is the next degree. Have an F, A, and C is the 1, 3 and 5. They're all diatonic to the key of C major, so we know we can use we'll have a major chord here. And the 7th degree of F is E. That also belongs to the key of C major, so we know that when we're playing the 7th chord based on F, we can have a 1, a 3, a 5 and a 7. F, A, C and E. It's a major 7th chord, same type of chord as we had on the 1 degree. So we've got the F major 7th chord here. Okay, now when we get up to G, something interesting happens. If we look at the notes of the G major scale, take the 1st, 3rd and 5th degree, we get G, B and D. They all belong to the key of C major, so we know we can work with a major triad based around those notes. But the 7th degree of G major is F sharp. F sharp doesn't belong to the key of C major, so we need to lower that by a semitone down to a flat 7th degree of F. And that gives us a type of chord that we haven't come across before. We've seen major 7th chords with the formula 1, 3, 5, 7. And we've come across minor 7 chords with the formula 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. But this one is a bit different and it's got a formula 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And it sounds like this. Sounds a bit unresolved. It's still got that major characteristic, that's happier sound than a minor chord because of the major 3rd degree in there. But the flat 7th degree gives it quite a unique type of sound. And because it's got a different formula, it's got a different type of name. It's called what's called a dominant 7th chord. So a major 7th chord has what we'll call like a major 7th degree in it, a normal 7th. Sort of 7th degree that you find in a major scale. A dominant 7th chord, for all it's built around a major triad, it's got that flat 7th degree. It's called a dominant 7th chord because in music theory, each note in a scale, each degree has a name, so the first note's the tonic and so on. The 5th note is called dominant, and this is the unique type of chord that's built on the 5th degree, the dominant degree of major scale. When I first started learning chord theory, that confused me a little bit because I thought dominant sounds like, you know, most important or the strongest or whatever. So I thought a dominant 7th must be the 7th built on the root degree. It's not. Dominant is the 5th degree, and so it's got that unique formula 1, 3, 5, flat 7. A little more confusingly, it's not written as dominant seventh. Major seventh chords are written as major 7. Minor seventh chords are written as minor 7. Dominant seventh chords are just written as 7. So we had C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, and G7. It's a G dominant seventh chord, but it's written as G7. It's the way it is, I guess. Okay, 2 more chords to look at in the key of C major. Next up from G, we've got A. Look at the notes in the key of A, from the notes from A major. We've got A, C sharp, and E. So immediately we know we can't have a 3rd degree because that C sharp doesn't belong to the key of C major. We'll lower it by a semitone. Give us a flat 3rd, so we've got 1 flat 3, 5, A, C, and E. 7th degree of A is G sharp. G sharp doesn't belong to the key of C major, so we'll lower it by a semitone, and that gives us G natural. And that gives us a chord with the formula 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Same type of chord that we found on the 2nd degree and the 3rd degree of the major C major scale. So up here we've got an A minor 7th chord, A, C, E, and G. Lastly, we'll come to B, 7th degree of the C major scale. Again, we're going to see a new type of chord here. Look at the notes of the B major scale. We have first, 3rd, and 5th degrees of B, D sharp, and F sharp. Both the D sharp and the F sharp need to be lowered by a semitone each to a flat 3rd and flat 5th to give us notes that belong to the key of C major. We'll have a similar issue with the 7th degree of B major, which is A sharp. Again, we need to lower that by a semitone, and that gives us a chord which sounds like this. That does sound probably a bit weird if you're not used to hearing this type of 7th chord. That's got the formula 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Now it's built on what we call a diminished triad. You know, we said when we looked at triads that if a triad has the formula 1, flat 3, flat 5, it's that diminished 5th degree chord gives it the name diminished triad. The 7th chord built on that degree has the formula 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. That's called half diminished 7th chord, a half diminished chord. We're going to do a bit more chord and scale theory later. Hopefully it'll become clear why we make a distinction. We'll call it a half diminished chord rather than a fully diminished chord. But for now, we'll just call it half diminished chord, half diminished 7th. And there's another name for that. You'll sometimes see it referred to as a minor 7 flat 5, because well, really that's what it is. If you look at the formula for a minor 7 chord, it's 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. This is the same formula, but instead of 5, we've got flat 5. So hence the name minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so we've gone through there and we've harmonised the major scale out in 7th chords. So we've got C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G dominant 7th, A minor 7, B half diminished 7th. Let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, so we can take those formula that we've got there and we can apply that to any scale. So here we've harmonised out C major in 7th chords, and you can see the pattern that we've got is 1 major 7, 2 minor 7, 3 minor 7, 4 major 7, 5 dominant 7, 6 minor 7, 7 half diminished 7th. And we can take that and apply that to any scale. So if we went to say to D major, harmonise that out, we have D major 7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, G major 7, A dominant 7th, B minor 7, C sharp half diminished 7th. That formula can be moved around the, like if you like, around the fingerboard, and we can apply it to any scale, any major scale. Now, when we looked at triads, we only had 3 types of chord. We had the major, the minor, and the diminished. We've opened up some other possibilities here. We've actually got 4 types of chord. When we're looking at 7th chords, we've got major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, half diminished 7th. And this becomes a pattern as we build more complex chords. So the different types of chords that we encounter, you know, there's more different types. What you need to do, as well as being familiar with the theory, is you need to be able to play these chords. So, you know, sit down with a copy of PhatPhish and dial in some put it into arpeggio mode and dial in some chord types and work out the fingerings, or if you've got a chord dictionary book or something, use that and just basically start building your vocabulary. You know, there's some open position chords that you need to know, but also there's some very useful movable chords as well, which is worth getting your fingers around. So say use PhatPhish, use a chord dictionary or whatever, to familiarise yourself with the shapes, but always when you play in the shapes, understand the theory behind them and know how those chords are built. As ever, it's probably a useful exercise to sit down with a pen and paper and, you know, pick a major scale and get your head around the theory. Sit down, so I'm going to pick the key of, I'm going to say B major, write down the notes of the key of B major, and then harmonise that out and write out all the different 7th chords and the notes in the 7th chord, 7th chords that you get in the key of B major or whatever. Just try that, you know, as a theory exercise to get yourself familiar with the formula and how the chords are built. Okay, so there's quite a lot to think about looked at there. There's no rush, you know, work at your own pace, get familiar with the theory, get familiar with the practice and being able to play them. Get familiar with the sounds as well, because the 7th chords have got a different type of sound to just basic triads. They've got a more complex sound, and it's good to be able to get your ear tuned into that and know how they sound and think about how you can use them in your own play. Okay, so leave it there, go away, study the theory, get your fingers around the shapes, keep practicing, and catch you in another video sometime soon. Bye for now.